Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What kind of person would you like to have in charge of, your business, your household, your city, your country, your military? I think you would want to have first, a capable person, a person who's good for the job, the best actually, for the job the person will be doing. Then you want some personal integrity, which is, honesty, straightforwardness, not lying, not a weasel. Correct? Correct. Otherwise, you're going to have big problems. So you expect that to be a professional, that means the person should do his job the best. That particular job, he is the best candidate. We have here a Polish general, military, and he's gonna provide us with evidence. Remember, this is the general, that the Western military knows for certain who blew up the dam. And guess who did it? Yes, the Russians. But he's certain about it. They know it. And he's going to let us know in this article what is his evidence. And now you imagine this guy, you don't have to imagine, just think about it, it's a reality, is in charge of a military, of a country. All right? That means this is his mental analysis process. When he makes a decision, he thinks this way. All right, so let me put my goggles on, and this comes from Ukrinform. Western military has no doubt that Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant was blown up by Russia. Polish general. So this guy knows what he's talking about. In the field, he needs to analyze reliable information, look at it objectively, take all of the information that was valid and verified, and then make a decision by inferring, deducting, and all blah blah blah, reach a conclusion and act upon it. Discuss with other people if that's the plan, the good strategy, and so on. This guy. All right, let's see what the evidence he brings. You'll be surprised. I think you already know by my little attitude and tone that this guy is going to give us some, hanky-panky, Humpy Dumpy and Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and other kind of stories. The Western military has no doubt that the Russians are behind the Kakhovka HPP dam explosion. Okay, let's see what the evidence is. And I'm quoting, Russian propaganda, the general said, and the money of Russian oligarchs. So far, bullshit. Who will sponsor mass media in the West, who still sponsor mass media in the West, saw these doubts regarding the responsibility of blowing up the Kakhovka But the military has no doubt that the Russians did it. Okay, so far nothing. Let's see. So Valdemar, I covered him in a previous video a minute ago. I didn't know this guy is the same weasel. A well-known Polish expert. Now they built his authority. Expert, ex-commander of Polish ground forces, ex-deputy minister of national defense, told a Ukrinform correspondent in an interview. Well, this guy is not making decisions because he was an ex, but he did and could be always activated at one point, I'm assuming. But if he thinks like this after so many years, that means he was even worse when he was in active duty. Why? Because when you get older, you supposedly get wiser. So he's ex, that means he's old. That means he is wiser right now. And this is how he thinks now. Now imagine how he thought before. Well, let's move on. According to him, okay, the Russians had everything ready for this a long time ago. Okay, where's the evidence? In particular, they planted explosive there last year when the Ukrainian army was conducting an active operation in Kherson direction. Okay, where's the evidence? You just made a statement. Planted explosive. No, I think it was the Americans who planted explosive. What if the Russians come and say that? Why wouldn't you believe them? It's the same, his word, the other word, to the other guys. And I'm quoting again, I'm providing the evidence he provides. They were waiting for the right moment because, all right, let's see what the reasoning is. They are afraid. Okay, that's the evidence. of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. So this is why he knows his, what was the term? Has no doubt that the Russians planted those and did all that because they were afraid. The Russian army was frightened by the Ukrainian actions. Again, this is his evidence, my friends. You don't believe me? I will read the whole article in Bakhmut and Kharkiv directions. Okay, the general emphasized that the political consequences of a Kharkov explosion for Russia must be, and I'm quoting, he already jumped at the future, must be the total isolation. Okay, I'm still waiting for that evidence. He believes is not always based on facts, my love. It's always, you think, you assess, you reason, that's the word. That the corresponding resolution, again, this is future. And again, this is an inhumane act. Okay, it is, but we don't know who did it. On the other hand, from a military point of view, as the Polish general noted, this is Ukrinform's assessment, it will be difficult to cross the Dnieper River for 2 to 3, okay? And I'm quoting this guy. The Russians were frightened, again. This is his evidence. But the Ukrainians were not, because they thought that the Ukrainian army had launched a counteroffensive in several directions, that they reported they beat them. So they defended their positions from the west by blowing up the dam. So this is his conclusion. They were afraid, and because they were afraid, they must have done that. This is, for instance, that's a crime. No, not a crime. Your neighbor, let's say she's an attractive woman, and she gets raped over the night. And they will come to you, the neighbor here, and say, Emil, you committed the rape. Why? Because she's an attractive woman, and you like her. And you like her. You must like her. How do you know that? Because she's an attractive woman. Well, but maybe it's not attractive for me, you know what I mean? No. You like her. How do you know I like her? What did they do to like her? The same. The Russian military was frightened. Really? By what? By the Ukrainian attack? How do you know the Ukrainian attack was efficient? The Russians said they beat it already. And CNN reported they have big losses. So they were not afraid, and afraid is a kind of like I tell you, hey baby doll, you're afraid. Don't tell me how I am. That's your assessment of me. But my assessment of me is not, I'm not afraid. It doesn't matter your assessment of you. I tell you what you are, I tell you who you are, I tell you what you feel, because why? That's what the Polish guy does. If you are, or you were under this guy's command, I'm glad Poland was not at war with any country. Because if he thinks that way, I think the enemy is afraid. Attack! How did you figure that out? I don't know. They're afraid. They must be afraid because I think they're losing. Okay, what are they losing? I don't know, man, because we're too many here. We're many, man. We're going to attack him. He's frightened. Let's attack. Now we got him. Is that how this guy thought? Is that I'm 100% that military training in Poland is not like that. But this guy became a general, an ex-commander. How in the hell he got in that position thinking like this, providing the evidence? Maybe I missed something. Let's go back and read further. This was their military move, as the Russians has previously redeployed part of their forces from the south to Zaporozhye direction. Okay, what forces were swept by the waters? Were the Ukrainians or the Russians? Because the Russians are criminals and stupid, right? Yes, okay. And again, fearing, because of the fear of the main attack of the Ukrainian army will be there. But they didn't know because you were too stealth, no? Or they knew. Which one is it? The ex-commander of Poland's ground forces emphasized. Emphasized what? He didn't say anything. He just talks about a country being frightened of something that they did not know, but they might have known, they could have known, and therefore they did this. According to the expert, this guy is an expert, my friends. The Russian side did not gain an advantage from blowing up the dam, but they did nevertheless because they're evil and cowards, right? But only secured the left wing of its troops. But the same thing could be is valid for the Ukrainians. They secured their right wing of their troops. Unless you think that it's a given that Ukraine would have smashed Russia somehow with this failed counteroffensive so far. So they say, well, the Russians are saved. How about the other guys? Doesn't work both ways? No. Again, he drew attention to the fears. Again, fears. Oh my God. Of the Russians, that part of the Ukrainian troops will cross the Dnieper. But the Ukrainians did not have the fears that the Russian troops might cross the Dnieper? And then why not? Because the Ukrainians are stronger or something? But in my opinion, exactly, you're expert. That's an opinion, and based on fears and other. The Russians miscalculated because of this direction was not considered by the Ukrainian command as the main one. The main direction is another place where there are more opportunities to maneuver and there is no need to cross the Dnieper. So the Russians are dumb, basically, he said. They miscalculated something that he made a point here. Right? Ukrainian forces will cross the Dnieper. He said that they thought. He believed. He added that crossing the Dnieper River could be an effectively difficult task, only for the Russians or for the Ukrainians as well. Okay, I'm calling the last thing in this BS. Whoever has crossing big rivers knows how difficult it is. I crossed the Odra in Verta and Vistula River in Poland. This is very complex organizational process, and I guarantee you, poor guys under your command. In addition, the pictures show how many mines the Russians have placed on the opposite side of the Dnieper, the Polish general stated. Yeah, okay, so that is, what was the title again? They are convinced or something? Has no doubt. No doubt means 100%. Now you tell me, with the evidence provided by the general expert, is that no doubt? I don't have to go into who benefits, because even if I go by who benefits, it's going to be divided in two. And if I go by who benefits, that means the United States blew up something in the Baltic Sea, if you go by who benefits the most. All right, and Russia would be like the fifth on the list, and others that would benefit before Russia. So we can't use that one either. What I'm concerned is a know-nothing here, general. Would you want that guy to be in charge of your team with this kind of way of, let's put it, thinking? And I'm not picking on Poles, but this is what the Poles are saying. What am I supposed to do? Ignore it because some Poles will feel insulted? They should be insulted that they had this guy as their chief guy. Ground forces, general, in charge, expert. You know what I mean? I'm pointing out to this to know who is in charge of us. Do you think that Milley is better than this one? No. And then how you think, what was the process of promotion? Ass leaking? Partly, yes. What else? Other features that you can't control? Is that what it is? But ass leaking, you can control. I don't want to insult, but this is my assessment. I was never had a very positive opinion or assessment on the military commanders. Not because I don't like them or I have a problem with them, but I heard too many of these experts coming in front of cameras and talking stupid shit. And I spoke with generals. I did. And I was like, you're a general? Okay, you're a colonel. You're in charge of that. Anyway, just disappointment. That's all. Disappointment. I didn't find something deeper. I expected, because you think that in an organization, as you climb, you're the best. But actually, look at this guy. Look at this guy. If you want to see how, or you want extra, put yourself at the receiving end. Think that you are the Russians, and this guy comes over. So let's say you are the Russians. You don't know if you did it or not. Let's put it this way. And you hear this guy saying, I know who did it. We are, no doubt that you did it. And he's going to come and present this in front of a court or in front of you. Would you say, you got me, man? Or you're going to say, how old is this guy, man? I think the second option will qualify. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.